Howdy, everybody. This is Susan with Two Chicks with Hiking Sticks.
I'm Monica.
And we are here, the Two Chicks. We cover things that are natural, historical, and cultural in the world that's around us, and we bring them to you to share.
And I want to say that we're going to start adding some current.
Yeah, some current event things.
Yeah.
Things that are being maybe talked about in the news or what have you. Yeah, so I think you'll see some of that perhaps on this episode.
Perhaps.
So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. Are we ready?
I think we're ready.
Okay, so today we are going to cover a place called Chiricahua National Monument. Chiricahua.
Chiricahua, okay.
Chiricahua National Monument. And it is a national monument, one of the 433 that are under the National Park Service. And it was established way long ago, like in 1924.
Okay, all right. And
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So it's been around a bit, right?
Yeah.
So it's been around a while. Unfortunately, I mean, so that's what we're going to cover, right? And we're going to talk, go ahead.
Tell us again the difference between national monuments, national parks, national...
Yeah, they could probably have some efficiency by trying to tie those names a little bit into smaller number categories, because there's like 20 different categories of things that you have under the National Park Service units. National parks, that label of national parks is usually reserved for like the top 63 big national parks. Those are parks that are, they have to be designated by Congress in order to become a big national park, one of the 63. Then you have all these other ones that are like national monuments, which usually is because something significant happened there, or historical parks or historical sites where something significant happened there. You have battlefield parks, you have military parks, they all represent something distinct. Generally, monuments are things that happened, that were significant in our history, but that's generally kind of how you look at them.
Okay, sorry, please go ahead.
But as I said, they could have some efficiency with the number of labels that they use, because they don't really need 20, but that's my opinion. Anyhow, so this is a national monument, and it's a national monument, as I said, from 1924. Now, this particular place, where is it located, you might ask? Because until I went out on my journey, I had no idea where it was located.
I've never heard of it.
Well, a lot of people haven't. And you know what? There's only about 72,000 visitors a year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, not many.
Not many at all.
But actually more than what I thought. So it's in southeastern Arizona. Okay. And there ain't nothing near it, really. I mean, if you're in Tucson and you go east and south, you're going to get to it. But when you're off the main interstate, so basically off of, say, 10, and you're starting to go south, southeast, there's not a whole lot that's out there. But what's fascinating about this place and where it's located is that, you think about Arizona, most people think Arizona is pretty, deserty, kind of the whatever, right?
Sure.
There's a section of Arizona that certainly is. But if you go north, like towards the Grand Canyon, it's beautiful, like Sedona Way, beautiful, Flagstaff, beautiful trees.
Right.
And it is really pretty. You also have some of that when you go south. So the elevation here in Chiricahua is pretty high. So you actually, while it may be hot and sweltering down, like say in Tucson, when you start going out to Chiricahua, it actually gets cooler because the elevation is higher.
Okay, all right.
So it's kind of neat.
So it's on a mountainous...
Ish, yeah.
Hillish.
Yeah,
Okay.
ish, yeah. So what I like to talk about with Chiricahua is that the first time that I went, I was like, you know what this reminds me of? What? What does it remind me of?
Tell us, please.
It reminds me of Bryce Canyon National Park. Have you ever been to Bryce Canyon?
Never been there either.
Okay, so Bryce Canyon National Park is in Arizona. Not in Arizona, it's in Utah.
Utah.
So it's where the Mighty Five are. There's a Mighty Five in Utah, which we'll talk about at some point. It's one of those. And when you go to Bryce Canyon, fascinating hoodoos that are out there, these rock shapes, these spiral-like rock shapes that are out there in beautiful color. I mean, they're fascinating. And I'll pop up a picture of Bryce Canyon just so you guys have a reference point of what I thought when I went to Chiricahua. So Bryce Canyon has these hoodoos, right? You go to Chiricahua, it is essentially the same type of thing in terms of these spires. It looks otherworldly in a way. Except that you don't have the same type of color as you have in Bryce Canyon.
Okay.
And so sometimes you might wonder, why it's not the same.
Why, Susan? Do you know why?
I do have an idea about why.
That. Shocker.
Well, because Bryce Canyon was it was kind of like this lake bed and then all these sediments and just different sediments and everything, different colors and all. Eventually, that all fills up and then, you start getting these cracks and these hoodoos form and they're different colors because of the sediments. Versus in Chiricahua was created from volcanic ash. So volcano, ash, hardened, becomes rhyolite, I think is what it's called. Hardened, right? And hard. It's really hard. And then you had these tectonic plates that pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed things up and pushed whatever. And then you started having the infiltration of like water and then, the heat cycle, cooling cycle, all that stuff.
Okay.
Starts, wearing away and this erosion happens, but it's erosion on volcanic ash, hardened volcanic ash, that makes these spires.
And they're not as colorful because
it's volcanic ash
the
versus
volcanic
the sediments
ash.
And stuff that came from,
Right.
like in
little
St.
animals and little tiny shellfish and stuff.
But here's the interesting part, though. Well, I mean, it's all interesting to me, but because it says volcanic ash, so we, lots of places that we've talked about. If you go back to our last season, we talked about like in Yosemite how El Capitan was formed or how Half Dome was formed, and you talk about erosion. The significant part of this is that we as humans have to understand this is so beyond our lifetime, right?
Right.
It's millions of years old.
Right.
Millions.
And that's, I did talk about that in one of the blog posts, and we talked a little bit about it just doing the hikes at Pedernales and at Crown Ridge, where we said, this part of Texas was ocean, and then when it became plains, then it was completely different, and the animals were completely different. And so, sure, that whole area of the Southwest is still peppered with volcanoes. I mean, there's inactive ones here in West Texas.
Yeah, I know.
So it does kind of like boggle the mind when you think about all that stuff.
Well, because you have to look at this and go, it's 27 million years ago when this volcanic eruption happened. 27 million years ago. I'm like, I don't even know what was around 27 million years ago.
Beyond our brains.
It is, right? So, they talk about, much like whenever you go, when we talked about Glacier Bay, we have an episode on Glacier Bay. It's always moving. Everything is moving.
Right.
Because the erosion just happens over time. So things that you see today may not be there tomorrow or 10 years from now or 100 years from now because of the eroding process.
Right. And the interesting part about that, too, is like when you talked about Half Dome and some of those, El Capitan, is that some of those formations are made because they're there and the wind and the water erode them. And then some of them are made because everything erodes around them and leaves them standing. So that kind of just, I find that interesting.
That is fascinating, because like Devil's Tower, knowing that everything was up here and came down and left Devil's Tower there. I mean, fascinating that the water, that there's a river over there by it, but that it used to be up and running around Devil's Tower I'm just amazed by this stuff. And if I could get a job in geology, I would.
Good, you go.
I don't think they want a 61-year-old doing geology at this time.
Well, you never know.
That's true. So anyhow, that's when you go into Chiricahua, definitely need to stop at the visitor center. And I say that because you'll learn how to make sure you say Chiricahua right, because it's important.
Well, you got extra glasses on there because you have so many of them that, yeah.
Why you gotta call me out? Why you gotta call me out?
Because every time I turn around, she's like, where are my glasses? Well, they're all over you, man. There's one on your head. There's one on your face. There's one right here.
I'm trying to make sure I can see. I don't know why I don't wear my actual prescription glasses, but anyhow, it's a whole other point. So anyway, you need to go to the visitor center, and you need to go to the visitor center because you'll learn about how these hoodoos are formed.
Is that what they're really called?
Hoodoos, yeah.
Hoodoos? Mm-hmm. There's a song called Hoodoo by Alison Moyet.
It has nothing to do with it.
Who used to be in, what was it?
Brian Ferry, Roxy Music.
No.
Wasn't she Roxy Music?
No. She was with, what was the name of that band? 80s. I will think of it. It's W, something, Taz, Maz, Waz.
Oh, Yaz.
Yaz. Yes. She was the lead singer for Yaz. Although,
That's right.
Yaz was very, just techno. Anyway, sorry, Alison Moyet.
Yaz was
Hoodoo.
more my kind of music.
And I preferred Alison Moyet after she left Yaz.
Yeah, I kind of.
That's how we are. See, it's
yin and yang.
Okay, go ahead.
As opposed to being a part of Wing Chun.
Hoodoos. Hoodoo.
Yeah.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yes. So again, Bryce Canyon and Chiricahua have hoodoos, and they're fascinating to see. And I also have some pictures in here as well. The color dynamics are just different. There is some color with Chiricahua. It's not as pronounced. But when you go to the visitor center, you'll learn all about how this land is formed. Also talk to a park ranger because you'll want to make sure that you get out and I'll tell you, 2 ways you can do this. You can drive. Now, it says that it's not a driving park. I don't know why they say that. They have Bonita Canyon Drive.
There is a drive, if I'm not mistaken. I just glanced at the website and that there was a drive on the canyon. It was a page for it.
Yeah, there is. But it's interesting how more people say, you can't really appreciate the park unless you're out and doing a trail. Now, sure. I mean, I think that could be true of any place. But for people who may not be as ambulatory, right? It's perfect to be able to go take a drive around. They have pullouts, and then you can take they're not hikes, but little short walks, like maybe quarter mile this way, quarter mile that way, to get overviews and overlooks of what this place looks like. Sure. Because you come to this one place, and you stop, you get out, and you look, and you see all these hoodoos, and then off in the distance, you see nothing but valley. Like, you're in the midst of these hoodoos.
Wow.
And then you can see out there that there is nothing but valley, just plain valley, land.
Interesting.
It's just the juxtaposition of these structures, these monolithic-y looking structures.
In the middle of...
And then you've got, going down,
land.
because again, you're up in elevation, which is where you see where these spires, these hoodoos are. So when you're looking down, you can see back down on regular old elevation where it's just flat.
You like that word, don't you?
Which one?
Hoodoo.
Maybe. What's wrong with that, Monica?
When you first said it, and I didn't know it was like a real word.
You thought I was making it up.
I thought you were just calling them hoodoos because that's what you do. So
I don't make up words. I don't make up words.
That thing.
I don't make up words, man. So anyhow, visitor center, get in your car, drive.
Go see the hoodoos.
Go see the hoodoos. And then when you're out there, there are several hikes that you can take. There are moderate hikes, there are easy hikes, there is a particularly strenuous hike. Now, up to you whether or not you want to do that. But some of the easy and moderate hikes, we're talking like a mile, maybe 3 miles. They're not hugely long, but you have to be very careful because there really isn't any shade out there, hardly any shade on where the trails are. And it can be kind of dry.
In other words, don't go in the summer. Oh, come on.
Well, it's higher elevation, so it's not that it's hot, but the sun is going to be brutal still.
And at a higher elevation, even though it's 70 degrees, you're closer to the sun, and it's hotter than you think it is. Yeah.
But like it's hot? Yes. So, yeah, you'll want to make sure you're prepared for that because I was amazed at how dry it was, and we went in January. And the other thing that I thought, well, at least when we had gone, it was windy.
Oh, yeah, because there's nothing to break the wind.
Well, it was windy.
Well,
It was windy. And so it's just like we always say, though, you have to be prepared for all sorts of weather.
Yep.
But it's really cool. So it's very doable. Now, you do have to kind of get off that main thoroughfare of I-10 and start heading down, right? But it's worth it to go down there and to check it out. Now, here's the other historical part of it, the cultural part of it. Do you want to know something?
Go ahead, please. Tell us.
I used to say that to my dog. You want to know something, Bean? I used to call my dog Bean. That wasn't her name, but I used to call my dog Bean.
I thought you didn't make up words.
You always have nicknames for your animals. Don't you have nicknames for your animals?
Please go on.
I don't know how Charlotte went to Bean, but anyhow. So, you want to know something? The Chiricahua Apache were in this area.
Ah. Well, that makes perfect sense.
Well, as is our history of our country, Lord knows we couldn't let that stand. So, the Apache, the Chiricahua Apache had lived there for a long, long time. That was their home. They understood how to live within these hoodoos, where the water was, how to survive and, and thrive in the area. But of course, in the mid-1800s, the United States, in its desire to go west, came upon the area, was meeting resistance from the Chiricahua Apaches, and Americans were like, well, we want the land, and they're like, but this is ours, and you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So there were a few battles, and while the Chiricahua Apache really tried to maintain a peaceful approach to this, Cochise was a part of the Chiricahua Apache.
Okay.
Really wanted to have a reasonable, way to get through this, but that was not to happen. And so, everybody had to take up arms because the United States was saying, no, we're going to take the land. Geronimo was also of the Chiricahua Apache.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Right.
Very cool.
And he was one of the, I don't know, I wouldn't say like a holdout, but he was really good at running and hiding and getting away. Kind of like, who was that other guy?
The dude in West Texas at the Davis Mountains.
Yeah. Caesar Chavez. No, Caesar Chavez. I can't remember his name.
I don't remember either, but it's in our blog and it's on the Davis Mountains. It was on the.
Was it Fort Davis?
The Fort Davis.
Fort Davis.
Yes, because he was hiding from them.
And I'm amazed. I mean, I love it because they had such passion for where they were because this had been their home. They had figured out how to make this uninhabitable place a home for them because they understood the terrain and everything around it. So, yes, the U.S. military comes in. Eventually, they capture Geronimo and, they basically take over the area. Then the worst part was, if that wasn't bad enough, they take the Chiricahua Apaches and they ship them out thousands of miles away. They ship them out to like Florida, then Alabama, then to Oklahoma.
God, does this sound familiar?
It's like our history is written everywhere. I mean, anyhow, I know. Anyhow, this is why when you go, the important parts to remember is not just how interesting these hoodoos are and how they were formed over time, but then to understand how people lived in this space for many, many, many years, making this their home, and that's the Chiricahua Apaches. And so now, that's not a home for them anymore. And so, it's like we have to remember what we took and what it was like to have them living there because it's an odd, interesting place. I don't know how you make a living out there.
Because my guess is that there's nothing there now.
Not of the Chiricahua
just
Apache.
people were displaced, and there's nothing there except the park. I mean, obviously the park, but and my guess also would be just based on having done the research for a lot of these blogs in the cultural and the historical aspect. I would be guessing that there were probably Paleo Indians there even before the Chiricahua.
Probably,
which is what we see time and time again is that millions, at the start of when we realized that people were walking the earth.
Right.
There were people there, Paleo Indians, all in the Southwest and
thriving in their own
South,
worlds, making it work for themselves
for hundreds of years.
Yeah. So we're not the first to do all that stuff, but.
Right.
Another aspect about this particular place, because I thought it was really cool, because when we talk about our parks and our, whether it's national monuments or memorials or military battlefields and what have you, we've talked many times about the Civilian Conservation Corps and about their contributions to a lot of the infrastructure in our parks. And this is one of the places in Chiricahua National Monument that they were the ones that helped get those roads built in a way that didn't take away from the natural beauty of the place. So again, their contributions, I think to myself, in today's world, who takes on that role? I mean, is it all just government?
Department of Highways.
I don't know.
I don't either. But now that you mention that, and we have mentioned them so many times before, I wonder if maybe we should do a podcast just devoted entirely to the CCC.
And what all they've done.
And all the parks and everything that they've impacted, because it's a lot.
It is. Good old FDR with that. I mean, we were putting young kids, basically young kids, because they were much younger than us, to work in doing this stuff. But the stuff that they built has lasted for 100 years. I mean,
you should take notes and put that in the future.
I have glasses on. I could probably do that. But But yeah, so it just, again, any of our parks, any of the places that you go to, you see where these things fit in and how the architecture becomes the architecture in our parks and stuff, and the roads and all that are built. And so thankful that they have lasted as long as they have.
Yeah.
So it's been really good. So I would just want to kind of close with, one of the things that's been in the news about Chiricahua National Monument is about making it an actual national park. So taking it from national monument status to national park status, making it one of the 63, making it number 64, essentially, right? And of course, and this isn't a surprise, it's being pushed by, of course, people in Arizona to make this a place that's a capital N, capital P, as we call it, crown jewel type of national park. Now, I find that interesting because this place is not very big. It's like, 12,000 acres or something like that. When you think about all of our other parks, they're much, much bigger.
Right.
So this is like a postage stamp size. This is like the size of, say, like a Gateway Arch, National Monument. I think it's a national monument. No, national park. It's a national park. It's probably kind of like that size. Or Hot Springs is not that big.
Right.
But this is only 12,000 acres, so it's not big at all. And so, and I've stopped to wonder, why would we want to make this a big national park?
And it's mostly Arizonans pushing for it, yeah?
Because, of course, when you're a big national park, you're going to get more visitors.
Right, you get more funding. And, you get more funding for it, too.
But the concern I have for it is there is not a lot of infrastructure where that park is. Now, granted, that could be part of what the selling point is to, like, if I lived in Arizona, right? Hey,
Sure.
New jobs, whatever, we're going to have construction, we're going to be able to build up tourism more down there. Because when you think about Arizona, more people go to, say, the Grand Canyon,
Sure, yeah,
right?
that's what I was going to say.
Or to Saguaro National Park, because that's around, Phoenix, Tucson area. More people will go there, but now you're wanting them to come down here to Chiricahua. Yeah, and so I'm curious to see where that goes to make that an actual national park, because for it to be an actual national park, it has to be approved by Congress.
It would be really cool if anybody from Arizona that might be watching this, or if you know anybody that lives in Arizona, that you can share this with them and maybe drop a comment about why. Is it just, obviously state pride. You've got a lot of great stuff in that state. Is it just, something else for people to look at and appreciate?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is interesting because, like, you look at the state of Texas, as large as the state of Texas is.
Yeah, we have what?
We have two national parks, big national parks. I don't know, a handful of other MPS units. We have some national forests. But we are low in comparison, like per capita, for national parks. Yeah. For as big as this state is.
Interesting.
So, part of that comes down to, and this is why it's important that you get involved at your local level for things that you want to make happen. Because, in some states, like for instance in Texas and San Antonio, we have the missions, right? So you think about the missions, the historical park of the missions. Technically, the Alamo is not a part of that.
Right.
And the Alamo is not a part of it because it's a part, Texas wants to still maintain and manage that, because that's where the money comes in, right?
Right.
They want to keep that. They don't want to give it away to be federal. So there are some of those machinations that happen behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But anyhow, so drop us a comment though if you have an opinion about whether Chiricahua National Monument should be a big national park, a capital N, capital P, be number 64, or if you don't think it should be at all.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, because it's one of those touchy things about what should be a national park.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't read about parks being converted to national parks all that often.
Yeah.
How many would you say in the last 10 years?
I don't know.
Not to national parks.
Well, New River Gorge, I don't know if that was something before it became a national park. That's the latest national park. Yeah, I'd have to look. But some of the ones that we have covered were national monuments before they became national parks.
Like wasn't Golden Spike?
A national monument. Yeah, well, it is a national monument. It's a national historic park. It was a national historic site.
I'm just so confused. Okay.
So things can be a national historic site for one thing, and then it becomes a national historic park for many things.
Okay.
But that's why, like for Chiricahua, one of the things is that because you've got this geological masterpiece of things that are out there, these hoodoos that are out there, that I'm not making up the word, the hoodoos that are out there, the history and culture of the Chiricahua Apaches that are out there, those two things are things that would say this really is bigger than just looking at
Right, right.
the geology,
Yeah.
right? So that's why they might want to make that a national park.
Yeah.
So there's that. All right, I think that's it on Chiricahua.
I think that's all we got. That's all she's got.
I really enjoyed it, though. I really enjoyed going there, knowing that it was a place that you had to intentionally go to because it's pretty close to the New Mexico border. And it's just down in that southeastern area that you're actually not even far from Mexico, for that matter.
Nice.
So,
That's someplace I would like to go.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole string of national monuments and things to hit along that area south of I-10.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
so
to keep in mind.
it was a great road trip, and we hit many sites when we did that. So,
Cool.
All right, so you can get out there and hike it too. So make sure that you take advantage of that, but be prepared. Make sure you've got your
prepared.
hat and sunscreen and
All
plenty
kinds
of
of
water.
weather. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's it.
That's it.
So until next time, make sure you
Hike your own
your own
hike.
hike, and we'll check you later.
Bye.
Bye.